The idea that most of the world has stopped using the dollar as a reserve currency is one that I think is definitely possible. In addition, I think a lot of places are willing to try something new. Another thing is that I don't think one of my ideas will come true anytime soon. Still, if countries start to realize that other currencies might one day take the place of the US dollar as the reserve currency, that would be one of my crazy case success stories for a digital asset. We see the same thing happen with banks as well. In the beginning, when I sold software to banks, people would ask me why a bank would buy something from your company when they could use something that was made by banks themselves. Not knowing that only 10 banks, like Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Credit Suisse, and J.P. Morgan Chase, had built the system that would run the whole world, they were shocked. The other 6,000 smaller banks have to deal with these big and dangerous competitors. Those groups are the ones they hate the most. They wouldn't want to use the system they made and run because it will be unfair to their biggest and strongest competitors. I believe other nations could also experience the same thing. All countries, for example, would love to have their currency be the global reserve currency. This has helped the US economy grow by huge amounts over the years, which is not fair. Every other country would also like to be able to do it. But Russia and maybe one or two other EU members are the only ones who could be blue and make it look like we're sticking to our guns. Most countries, though, are realistic enough to know that they won't be the ones to make a new worldwide reserve currency. It's possible that they would rather have a currency that can't be controlled than one that is run by the countries that they war against in the world. So, that's what I think has the best chance of working for all the different digital assets and attempts. Because no one will want to make another US dollar the same way it is now, these countries will decide that they will no longer use the US dollar as their currency. In the EU, no one wants the EU to replace the US dollar. In Russia, no one would want to get rid of the dollar. But for 1 ruble, the only country that doesn't want the yuan to replace the dollar is China. So, instead of picking a currency that is controlled by their most dangerous global enemy, they might want to pick one that no one could control. So, if you want a situation where things go well, that's the one I think is most likely to happen. The hard part is getting everyone else to agree that they might be open to it if their geopolitical opponents came up with a new currency that wasn't just a religious move to get rid of the old leader and install a new one. If you can choose not to have a job, you know, and that makes a lot of people rich through Bitcoin. That's not likely to happen. They are going to think that is too much or bad. As a result, looking right. That's Kibos. And this person is taking a while to answer my 2 questions about blockchain. Should blockchain become a part of the banking system? How does Swift plan to use it to send money? But I'm not sure how she'll handle it. I'm sure they will. He is on his way. And the trials we are doing are great. Do you know anything about Dolt and on-demand cash as well? Yes, of course. Okay, then. Also, have you heard of a company called Ripple? Are they also being used? Yes, of course we do. What a shock. That is really amazing. Do you know about bills of lading that go to bills of lading in the UK? We have nothing to do with that. Okay, then. But do you know about it? Do you plan to use blockchain trading? We have nothing to do with it. Yes. Do you know anything about Ripple? Someone who works with Ripple? Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. That is a great answer, all right. Thanks for your time. You brought up how quickly and confusing it is to send money across borders. Also, I think it was a pretty big mistake. Quick and open. It looks like Santander and Ripple are working together to try to solve the problem. I'm interested in hearing what you think about that. Because of this, I think cross-border use cases are some of the most interesting ones out there. We know that chains of intermediation across borders are slow, long, hard to understand, and often quite pricey. So, I think technology has the power to make a big difference, and if the right steps are taken, they probably will. And while I don't want to say which approach I like best, it could happen through a partnership model. There are, however, other partnerships that want to come up with new ideas, lower barriers, and make those cross-border deals more open. Because of this, I believe there are several good options available that do not need a single accepted form of payment. Give me a specific example of the person you want to reach. One thing we've always said about payment providers is that I don't think banks will be the first ones to use our service. Because of this, we've done tests with money from Graham's Western Unions, Mercury, Fox, Qualtrics, and a few other companies. These payment companies also have big financial operations. To show what I mean, let's say that a payment provider has hundreds of millions of dollars in negative working capital because they put dollars into the account before pesos were sent. So, they go into Mexico, and let's say they send $10 million there every week. They keep debiting, and debiting along the way. Being able to receive cash in real time is revolutionary, even if they sometimes overfund or underfund. It is thought that the world network of pre-funded nasal foster relationships is worth $10 trillion. You could almost say that we can speed up the engine of trade if we can make it more useful and efficient. How many of you know the difference between payment and settlement? Not many people saw, say, one or two. In any case, let me give you a quick rundown of this. It was easy to pay at a diner with my Visa card. They let me go. Besides that, they don't tell the cops that I left without paying for my meal. It's a payment. But I still need to pay my credit card bill, and someone needs to send money to the restaurant through a wire transfer, or some other way that doesn't require payment yet. In the past, payment and settlement have always been handled by separate processes. For instance, SWIFT is a payment system that has nothing to do with settlement. This is a problem because it makes it hard to make a good payment. You don't know if the receiver is real or not, and you also don't know what the fees and exchange rate will be when the money is sent. So, we set up a system, and the only reason they haven't met yet is because of the history of institutional payments. Magnetic tape used to come on huge wheels and was used for daytime activities on bank computers. This is where these systems got their start. In addition, it would be moved to the payment computer, which is used at night to talk to other banks. Also, there was no way to settle during the day because the tape had to be on the computer running the bank's business and had to be moved to the settlement computer when it was done. When I say this, I mean it. Everything looks great if you look at the nice front-end app for your bank that you can use on your phone. You don't know much about the 21st century, you only scratch the surface. It looks like you've gone back in time. If luck is on your side, you're in your mid to late 70s. That's why these systems for money, movement, and plumbing were made. Even if Bitcoin fails completely, these systems will still not work and will not make any money. Even if all coins fail, the way we pay for things will change because tariffs are a multi-trillion-dollar problem.